very first time I can remember is that I was at a bar, and I was pretty developed for my age at 15. There was this guy there, and he came up to me and he asked me, and he told me that if I go to a motel room with him, that he'd give me $100. And I remember that night, trade my body to that man for that $100.
According to the Department of Justice, the average age of entry into child prostitution is 13 years old in both Phoenix and across the U.S. When you hear that there's 100 to 300,000 child sex slaves on the street tonight, that tonight just down the road from where you and I live, from where we go to school or go to work, that literally hundreds of girls right here in Phoenix will be raped for profit, will be forced to live a degrading, violent existence. When you hear that, I think that we cannot help but say, what do we do? This has to stop.
When I first started out, I was living with a guy, and I ran away from home at 15, and I met this guy, and he was just so mentally abusive, you know, and he had other girls, and he had, and so this is what I felt like I had to do to survive. This is the only way I felt.
A large part of the difficulty of the cases is keeping track of the girls while the case moves through the justice system, and secondly, convincing them to even assist you in the prosecution because they don't want to be labeled as snitches. They're afraid, you know, they've been brainwashed for months, years, that if they ever tell that, you know, the pimp has associates or family or whoever, that will come and you know, there'll be repercussions for their talking to police.
You know, some of the girls say, well, no, that is not what I want with my life. I think this relationship has went too far. I want out. Okay? At that time, people think, yeah, the girls should have got out then. But the problem is, these manipulators, they're so manipulative till they'll tell this girl that you owe me. You're not going nowhere.
They have no problems exploiting people, and they look for victims. They look for people who are experiencing, most of the time, some type of unhappiness in their life. They usually tend to look for girls who have low self-esteem, and they target those types of girls. People who may be having trouble at home and looking for some identity or looking to be more adult-like, and they can pick up on those types of girls.
A lot of these pimps are young, good-looking guys, and so even coming up and pretending like they're going to be their boyfriend, and they use, and then of course once they do lure them into that, a lot of times then it becomes extremely violent, and you know, the grooming process that they take them through to literally destroy them emotionally, physically, literally making them slaves.
The only thing you care about is this guy giving you this money. You don't know whether they married, they be young, they be older, middle-aged, they black, white, all different nationalities. The only thing you're concerned about is getting that money so I can hurry up and get through, so I can go get me some dough.
If men weren't asking for sex from 14, 15, 16-year-old girls, this wouldn't exist. If pimps didn't make $750,000 a year off of selling for girls, this wouldn't be happening. If we can stop the supply and demand, if we can begin working against the supply and demand, I think really long term, we're cutting into this problem. We're starting to make a difference. And that was really our vision, is what if Greater Phoenix and Arizona could become an example city of that potential?
Because supply and demand, you know, pimps can go out of business if they don't have, you know, if there's no demand for their girls, then we can curtail pimps too, is the theory, and that we also need to look at the other part of the problem, which is demand. So a lot of efforts have been focused lately on demand reduction, which is the Johns. You know, we want to lessen the amount of it going on in our city by continuing to prosecute cases, continuing to do enforcement, having swift punishment. So people, when they come to Arizona, know, you know, if you're a pimp or you're a John, don't do it here because you're going to be punished severely.
Someone is looking at our girls and our young babies and saying, no, not here, not in Phoenix. I want, one day, what I want the word to get out is that do not come to Phoenix and try to enslave one of our children. I want pimps and Johns to know that You can't do that in Phoenix. Not on my watch.